Here we go.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking with TalksALot. I am once again joined by my good buddy Nickweiser. What's up, y'all?
Hi, how are you?
Woo! I'm good, bro. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Had a very successful weekend. Was plenty busy, and me and my girlfriend actually had to have a date night. We went into a delicious place where we dropped nearly triple digits on dinner, but so worth it. And then went to a movie, so it was nice to have those nights because being a dad, it's definitely they're fewer and far between. So we definitely enjoyed that, and it was nice, man. It was very, very, very needed. You even went to a brewery as well. What was going on your weekend?
Not much, just music production stuff and, hanging out, playing video games, going to work, adulting,
adult
normal
life.
Shit.
Yep.
Yes. So you finally got your PS4 on the way? Or PS5 or whatever it is?
After 14 months of this war of trying to get one, it's been absolutely at some point I almost just kind of threw in the towel because I had signed up for the PlayStation website, the Sony PlayStation website, and they said that they would send me email if I ever qualified. I don't know what that means to qualify, but Wednesday morning I got an email saying click on this link Thursday morning and you'll be put on a list. Nice. And last Thursday came around and I hopped online and I see Christian Delorme. What's up, Christian? Nice to see you, sir.
Hail, Christian.
Cheers. Good man, by the way. Hey. So I clicked on the link, waited for 2 hours. It said, wait for this page to refresh, and then you'll be given the opportunity to purchase. And by the time 2 hours passed, I was able to purchase, and it still doesn't feel real. I couldn't believe it. And I have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which came out back in June of last year, 2021. Yeah. That's been in the shrink wrap since, I got it. So now I can finally open that. And while I was at Walmart getting my Red Bull for the panel, I got the Guardians of the Galaxy game as well. My brother actually said it was really good. So I'm like, I never would have thought, but I'm gonna take his word because he's a hard gamer. He knows what's up. So I'm like, okay, that's nice to know because it's not the game you'd expect to be good.
Right. Alrighty. First, hello, David Blair. I look forward to streaming with you in the future.
Yes.
Hello, Lasso of Truth. Good to see you as always.
Lasso.
Cue welcome back Cotter theme. You're on fire with these today, bro. Wow. What's up, Brad? Right? It's good to see you here, man. So the topic today is music.
Mm-hmm.
And as you all know, Nick is a huge K-pop fan. So let's pick his brain about some music, shall we? Nah, but for real, you love some metal.
Mm-hmm.
You love you some metal. Who's your favorite metal band, bro?
Oh, God.
You can only pick one. Putting you on the spot.
Dude, look, as much as I despise boy bands, they got one thing right, is when one of them wrote that lyric about quit playing games in my heart. God, maybe if I had to, maybe Slayer or Motorhead. Even then, there's some toss-ups there. Cannibal Corpses was a possibility as well. It's tough. Maybe Motorhead. Christian.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
I get that. That's the ultimate compliment, man.
Hell yeah.
Ultimate compliment.
You get better compliments than I do. People say I look like Jake Gyllenhaal when I have my hair a certain way. And I'm like, oh, great. I look like I got pegged on a mountain by Heath Ledger.
Yay. He's talented, though. It was Nightcrawler he was in? I love
that was a
Nightcrawler.
Crazy movie, dude. That was good. Yeah. So do you listen to any other types of music?
At times. I mean, not always. If I had to describe where I go with other type of music, I do actually like Pink Floyd, and I'm not just talking about like The Wall, but I do like Dark Side of the Moon. I do like some of the Syd Barrett era stuff when they're more of like a psychedelic-y thing. I actually do like the Deftones a lot. I mean, they have some metalish aspects, but they're definitely more of a rock band. Trying to think. I do actually like a lot of movie soundtracks. Big fan of movie soundtracks. I do like the what was it? Danny Elfman from the first Spider-Man movie. I really like that soundtrack. Of course, we all know Hans Zimmer. So I definitely like a lot of composing scores. That's for sure. Elfman's probably definitely for me one of the best. Of course, I love John Williams. So there's a lot of great movie scores out there. Even for like some of the shows or movies I don't like, I do like the music. Like I can't stand Batman and Superman, but I like the music in that, or even the Loki show. I mean, people obviously there's a lot of controversy at that show, but I enjoy the music with that show that composes it. So that would be Natalie Holt who did that soundtrack. So yeah, I do listen a good amount of movie music if I'm not putting on Obituary at 5 a.m.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, as weird as this is going to sound, and I never watched the movie, I'm just going to put that out there right now because I'm not one of those people. But I loved the soundtrack personally to 50 Shades of Grey. It actually had a lot of really good music on it, a lot of older music and a lot of newer music. I can't stand Beyonce or any of those people, so I don't listen to those tracks. But their soundtrack to that movie was actually pretty good. But I will say that the Snyder cut, had the most boring soundtrack I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, really? The Snyder cut?
Dude, the first 45 minutes of that nearly put me to sleep, bro. Like, oh my God. That was so bad.
That's interesting because that was Hans Zimmer as well because he did BVS. And I liked his BVS score, but I never listened to his Snyder cut score.
Their choice of music in that, like, that man might be a composing god, but let's get real. The music in that was not what I saw as superhero music. Like, especially in the beginning where they're like doing all the weird, like, 70s, like, feelings music and shit.
I know what you're talking about now. Oh, yeah, that was bad, dude.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Bad. Awful.
And then, you know, like, it didn't get much better throughout the movie. Luckily, there was a lot of good action in it, but... So, when it comes to music, what in your mind makes something listenable, let's say?
Oh boy. As far as metal is concerned, well, so that'll be a topic for another day. Because if there's one thing Zack Snyder is good at is derailing any stream. Anytime that name brought up, it derails a stream, whether it's in the chat or on the panel. So I'd like for us to be exceptional, but she does have a very good point there.
Yep,
she does. To answer your question though properly, as far as metal's concerned, I'm not one of those guys who always looks for like innovation or the next best thing. I like good as long as it's got good heavy riff set I can remember. That's the biggest thing for me is having a hook. I want like when I hear something, I want to be able to like remember it that way. Like if I'm like at work, like having a hard time at work or something, or even just having a tougher day. I want if a riff pops in my head while I'm kind of like spacing out, I like that because that means it's stuck with me and there's something memorable that. So I like it when it's very infectious. I'm all about the hooks, whether it's in the singing or it's in the guitar riff. Like there's tons of memorable riffs like Slayer with Rain and Blood, Seasons in the Abyss, even Judas Priest, lots of memorable riffs there. So yeah, it's all about the hooks for me, and there's a lot of bands I listen to. I honestly are not the most original bands. I don't look for originality. Now, if they happen to be original, great. But like one band I love that a lot of bands imitated was this band Carcass. They're from Sweden. They're of the death metal side of things. And when they came out, they carried a bunch of Carcass-like clones. And I actually do like a lot of the Carcass clones, as they call them. But once again, as long as they have good riffs and something like a good hook, that's all I'm about, man. I'm about good hooks. So as long as the music's catchy, I'm good.
Yeah. When I think of something like that, the first song that pops into my head is Walk by Pantera.
Okay.
My dad, like, that was the one metal band my dad listened to was Pantera. And my brother got me hooked on Korn and everybody else. So thank you for that. But like when it comes to like metal tracks having like good guitar, like what I'm on the fence about Atreyu. What do you think about them? Specifically their guitar work. I don't give a shit about that guy's vocals. He's not good. But guitar
back
work.
in the day, that was during the early metalcore days. I remember when the first album came out, that would be called Suicide Notes and Butterfly Kisses. Some of it was pretty good. I mean, that stuff is meant to be straightforward, which is fine too. And it's pretty good. It's not exactly a go-to of mine, but at the time, I really dug that album, Suicide Notes and Butterfly Kisses. I thought I even dug some of the screaming from Alex Varkatsis at the time. I mean, I thought that was a cool album because that came out right around the time you had the Killswitch Engages of the world, All That Remains, Shadows Fall. A lot of those bands are coming around, and that was when Killswitch had their first singer too. That was when they had Jesse Leach around, that was my Killswitch Engage. So yeah.
I'm so bad with names. Good. You say all those, and I'm like, I'm not sure I know who that is, and then it's like, oh yeah, he was the first singer. Okay.
Yeah, no, dude. When I had heard Alive or Just Breathing, I heard right after I graduated 8th grade, which is 2002 was when that album came out. So that's 20 years ago. I remember that was when there used to be this thing out here called Music Choice. I don't know if you had out by you in Colorado, but Music Choice was this thing by Comcast. And it was where you just clicked on a channel and it would play music. And they had one that played metal all day. And I heard Killswitch Engage. I remember being like, had my mind blown by, what was that song? Fixation on the Darkness. And then I decided to travel down the rabbit hole per se. And I saw then there was bands like Atreyu. They had put out that first album, All That Remains, Shadows Fall, Unearth, all that whole metalcore wave. So yeah, I mean, Atreyu, that first album was pretty good. It was pretty good. I couldn't get into anything else after, but that first album was pretty good.
All right. And what about as a guitarist? That douchebag from Avenged Sevenfold.
Well, that's interesting.
He's an amazing artist in my book, but he's an asshole in real life. But that's a different story.
Talking about Sinister Gates?
Yeah, I think that's his name.
Well, the singer is M. Shadows, because I remember
the singer's a total douchebag.
Well, I remember when no one knew who Avenged Sevenfold was. Once again, this dates back to me going from middle school to high school, and I knew of them when they would play the venues where they played to 50 people. So I knew them when they were more of the metalcore Killswitch, Atreyu type of band, because they used to tour with those type of bands. Nowadays it's obviously a different story.
Yeah.
I did like the guitar work at the time. Actually, I really liked it. They took what was going on with metalcore, but they added a whole lot of shredding to it. So I did like that. I really enjoyed that music, and some of the lyrics were not for me, but riffage wise and shredding wise, they had it there. And then right when they put out City of Evil in 2005, that was when they hit mainstream, when they put out that Bad Country song. Yeah, that was obviously where they became a wholly different band compared to what they once were. But that also changed because M. Shadows, he had vocal cord surgery because he blew out his voice from all that screaming from when the metalcore era was very growing in its primal dominance, we'll say. Yeah, no, I actually enjoyed it back then. I did. I haven't listened to it really much since, but I did enjoy it.
Nice. Is there any bands you used to listen to that you kind of don't like anymore, even their older stuff? Or
let me think about that. I gotta think. That's a good question. Bands I used to let's just say I used to be hugely obsessed with Korn. It's not that I don't like them anymore. I still love that first album.
Sell Out.
Blind was great. Life is Peachy was great.
Yep.
I'm trying to think who can I not stand? Because it's one thing to just not listen to them because things come and go, but to not like them. Wow. Probably. Oh my god, this is actually harder than I thought.
Yeah, if you don't have one, it's understandable because a lot of people who experience their music nostalgia actually hold on to their genres from back in the day and the bands that they used to like to listen to. But me being an eclectic music fan, there's a lot of bands that I think are garbage now that I used to like. like a lot of the whiny bitch music from when I was in my emo phase and blah blah blah. But you know, are there any bands that you used to think were shit that you now like?
I don't know if I thought that they were shit or if I just didn't understand them. Like I used to not understand the Melvins. I didn't understand who Down was. Or understand the whole gist about Down. Now, for those who do not know in the chat, Down is they're a super group. Do you know what a super group is in music terms?
Oh yeah.
Okay, Down consisted of members from Pantera, Corrosion of Conformity, Crowbar, so a bunch of stoner sludge guys combined with Phil from Pantera's voice, and that was more like Pantera. Down was like Black Sabbath with like where it's more those swampy, slow, sludgy doom riffs. I didn't understand Down then. I used to actually not understand death metal. I remember when I first heard Cannibal Corpse, I heard Tomb of the Mutilated, and I heard that song Hammer Smash Face. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I saw them live at Sons of the Underground 2006. And they were with a different mixture of bands too, because it was just them and the Black Diamond were the only death type of bands. But you also had a lot of like the metalcore bands, As I Lay Dying, Trivium were both on there. In Flames, who was from the Swedish mellow death scene. So, and then you got hardcore bands. So, like, it was cool to see those bands stand out from the pack. And that was actually what made me embrace and respect those bands, because I totally got it. Because I would see they were already, when I had seen them, they were a band that already at that time had 10 albums. And I see 10 albums. I see this whole legacy of fans who love them, but I also saw how energetic they were on stage. And yeah, it was seeing death metal live is what converted me to death metal. Compared to when I first heard it, I couldn't do it. Then obviously I became a lifer, and it's been with me since, much like thrash metal. Voivod is another one too. For once again, if I had to go by popular way of reference, what's his name? Jason Newsted, who was the most popular bassist of Metallica during the 90s, the Black Era album era.
Was he the one that got squished by the bus?
No, that would be Cliff Burton.
Okay.
Newsted replaced Cliff Burton. But then when Metallica decided to go soap opera Jerry Springer style, that's when Newsted quit the band, because they put out that documentary about them going to rehab, and he had joined Voivod at the time. And I remember thinking, what the hell's a Voivod? And I remember hearing the music, and I was just, I guess at the time, maybe I didn't like it. And as years went on and I moved on from, I guess, what everyone was listening to in high school with metalcore, I started, doing my own deep dives, whether it was black metal or like weirder type of bands like Between the Buried and Me. I'm like, Voivod started to grow on me, and now I love it. And there's a lot of bands like that. I couldn't stand Venom as well. There is a very popular band called Venom that a lot of people think. When people think Venom, they think of the Marvel character, but Venom, the band actually came before the Marvel comics. So Venom was one. Yeah, there's quite a few bands I either didn't understand or just didn't like. And I love them now. There's quite a bit of that. Hatebreed, and all the bands that came with the Hatebreed sound. Like there's this one band I was like them called Terror. I couldn't stand Terror. Then I fell in love with them. Madball as well. Anthrax, I used to not like Anthrax. Then I fell in love with them. Exodus as well. I've been mega Exodus since, and that's over half my life ago.
Anthrax is one of those bands that I feel like a lot of people were that way with, where they were like, I don't know, and then like it's like, oh, boosh, holy shit, that's actually really good.
Oh, dude, once it hit. Like now I totally get it. And I've been lucky to have seen them many times since. Hey.
Hello, Comic Fusion. And yes, smash that like button. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So, one of my favorite genres, as much as people dig on me for it, for being a white boy, is hip-hop.
Okay.
What's your take on hip-hop? Feel free to be wrong.
I've never really been into it. Like there are some moments it can be funny. I do like the culture of around it. I mean, I do respect its culture. I mean, I have a very dominantly Puerto Rican family on one end of the aisle, And on the end, they grew up around that stuff. So I do like the culture, the partying vibes around it, and the good times that come with it. And obviously, not all of it's lyrically like that. There's some more serious stuff as well that's out there. So I'm definitely a big fan of the culture around it, and the personalities around it. I did like the larger than life personalities with it. Musically, I can never do with it, but put it this way: you put me and I don't know, Dr. Dre, one-on-one, chair, have a beer each. I guarantee you him and I will come out better friends than him and some Dr. Dre diehard.
For real. Yeah, dude. I would love to meet those guys.
I would too.
Dre and Eminem and 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I've been bumping those guys for decades. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for me, hip hop is what metal is to you. I'm not good with names and stuff, but I grew up listening to everything, but every time I turned around, it was back to DMX. It was back to Tupac. It was back to, the big names, of course, Eazy-E and all those guys, Unfortunately, Eazy-E didn't write a lot of his songs, which is probably why they had him say he was Eazy-E so much, but that's a different story.
I'm glad you mentioned DMX because I did find him to be a very exceptional music-wise. He went a bit harder than a lot of the other guys, and he wasn't just all personality. He actually went hard with his music, and he also, if you ever look up a performance of him at Woodstock '99, where he plays to a predominantly white crowd, and he demands that the crowd say a very specific word. And that crowd responded back hard with that word. I saw that. I'm like, he really just did that. He got a whole pasty white crowd to say that.
Yeah, he did. DMX can light it up, dude. I mean, other than the meth pipe, he could light it up too. Just saying. God rest his soul in hell where we know he is. But anyway, he was a badass, dude. I loved his Don't Give a Shit. He was the only guy that stepped to Eminem and never got taken down over it.
Nope.
I mean, he legit, even when he was in prison, Eminem wouldn't bash that man. It's yeah.
No, DMX is great.
Well, as you know, I started producing my own music. And of course, I put out my first song today for the year. Remix of Talent 1.0. Love my hip hop. I've been working on remixes of some beats and stuff. I got a Brooklyn one going right now with that nice, high-pitched piano thing that you feel from back in the day. It's going to be great. You yourself are or were in a band, right?
I was in a few bands, yeah.
Yeah. What'd you do?
I was a vocalist.
Nice.
I wrote the lyrics. I don't need much equipment. I was dominant. I started off as half of the lyrics, but then I got okay with it to the point where I ended up becoming the 1% lyrics. And I handled all the business aspects of the band. I would contact other bands. I would talk to promoters. So I definitely handled all the internet stuff. I would run the social medias, and I'd welcome input from the other guys. But the other guys they all just wanted to play their instruments, and so I just let them go for it, and I would take care of that aspect.
Okay. How would you feel about screaming on one of my tracks? Just because
I would love to. I haven't practiced in a bit, but give me some time, and I could do it.
Well, you remember the Another Cliche song that I had you listen to?
Yeah,
the one that had my metal voice on it. I'm gonna rework that one and actually put some guitars and stuff in it. And if I could just get a raw scream at any point, it'd be fantastic. I'll work it in. But I'm just looking. My first is the EP, LP. It's gonna have 5 songs on it. It's gonna be called Fusions, and it's gonna be hip hop meets metal meets poppy shit meets everything. It's gonna be great.
So. Dude, that sounds amazing. Seriously, that is, I'd love to do it. That will give me to get my pipes back in function, and I'll make it happen. Because I definitely did a lot. Of course, I'm what you expect. I did a lot of these screaming Cookie Monster growls, and I never really practiced a Motorhead Slayer type of voice.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's probably one of my biggest regrets was never practicing that, because I'm sure if I committed to that to the way I committed to trying to sound like Corpse Grinder, I probably sure I could get that done. But no, I can do it. I just once again I gotta get on practicing. I can make it happen.
When did you start your music?
Oh God, I started practicing right after I got out of high school. I would just listen to music, and I would just do it in my car when no one's around, because obviously I didn't tell anyone I could do it. I just kept going for it. And then one day I told some guys who were playing guitar, hey, I can do this. And I still needed so much work at the time, because like I didn't know about timing. I couldn't tell you about theory. I did learn about one thing though that a lot of big time vocalists messed up on, was that a lot of vocalists who do the screaming stuff, they would hurt their voices. And I'm glad Lasso mentioned earlier in the comments, she mentioned that, because Lasso mentioned a lot of singers blow out their voices, and that's true. And it's because they don't use proper technique. So I learned about this teacher named Melissa Cross. She had a series of DVDs at the time called The Zen of Screaming.
Okay.
And through Melissa Cross, I bought volumes 1 and 2, and I would practice all those techniques, everything she asked. And she would teach a lot of the big names, like Corey from Slipknot,
Who
Randy
blew
from
his
Lamb
voice out?
Yeah, Randy from Lamb of God. Like, she taught a lot of those guys. Jesse and Howard, both from Kill Switch. She gave them all lessons at some point. Like, she gave all those guys. So I thought, okay, well, if she's teaching those guys and she got a series of DVDs, I want to see what she's up to. And a lot of her techniques, they sound absurd, they look absurd, but I'll tell you what, man, they work like a charm. So I do that and practice. Go ahead.
As a voice actor, I'll tell you a lot of those warm up and practicing techniques for any vocals are weird, and like it's really uncomfortable doing them in public.
Oh, I know.
I agree, Lasso. I want to hear him sing too.
No, as far as actual proper clean singing, I could do it over something really dark and moody, like I don't know if you know what Opeth is like, or Typo Negative, that really, really dark, somber type of stuff. I do have a voice. I practice with that type of stuff. I do like to sing Sam Hain era stuff as well, Danzig era stuff as well. So I do practice that. But yeah, I was just constantly listening to a lot of really heavy bands and just wanting to emulate those guys, do my own version of them. And eventually, I learned about the guys and wanted to form a band. But once again, I didn't know timing. I at least knew though how to have technique with the voice. And I did some shows. I wasn't so good timing wise on the shows. I would have my voice and tonality down, but timing was awful. And that band didn't last. And then I joined another band, and before I knew it, I'd stepped up my game. I got better refinements with my sounds. I was doing different sounds with the voice. I was having better timing, and that band was playing more shows at the time. And it was great. It was a fun thing to do. Now, being the guy I was in the band, I was very, very determined to not be one of those guys who fell into what everyone else was doing. And I came up in an area that was very big on the metalcore scene, which there were some of those bands that I liked, and there was definitely ones I didn't, but I didn't care about what others were doing. I just wanted to do my own thing. And if it pleased the same 10 people, then I'm happy to please the same 10 people. Like, sure, I'd love to be huge. Why not? Of course, I'll take all the acceptance and praise, but I'd rather have the 20 diehards than to have the 1,000 fair weathers who may or may not be there, because I want the diehards. And that's kind of also the basis of the YouTube channel as well. So yeah, I was doing those. I did up to 3 different bands, all vocals. Never played. I thought about being a drummer at one point, but I thought, oh, that's too expensive. Fuck that. So no, singing was where it's at for me. And I still practice to this day. I don't practice as much as I should. I love to practice as more, but now that you mentioned that, you're gonna give me the greatest kick in the ass to do it.
Nice. So now to change focus a little bit,
do
you have a guilty pleasure band or song?
No. I am not ashamed of what I like. I don't apologize for what I like. I'm trying to think
So-
what is the weirdest, most unusual thing that I like that I guess some would consider a guilty pleasure. Ooh, I
Mine's
don't
George
know.
Michael,
I'm trying to think here.
Careless Whisper.
Okay. George Michael's all right. I'm not like huge into it, but he's all right. If I was at a party and I was playing, I could get down with that.
I love that song.
Mm-hmm.
Careless Whisper is so good.
I do like a lot of 80s synth. But once again, I never understood the shame in that. I always just thought it was good.
Right.
So I can get with that. I can really get with that. So no, nothing I'm ashamed of. But if you had to consider it, that a lot of people seem to look at the 80s as some weird era in time. God, what was one band that a lot of people for some reason rag on the Deftones. I love the Deftones. I think they're great. They're definitely of the artsier type of rock. I always thought they were absolutely fantastic. I've seen them actually 3 or 4 times, though the last time I've seen them has been a long time. I think that Deftones are great. I think as far as a popular band goes, I will go nuts at a Deftones show.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I've never really been a huge, like, super fan of the Deftones. They've got a few songs that I enjoy, but it's, the Deftones are the Deftones. I grew up hearing them all the time and stuff like that. It's kind of like, it took me a while to warm up to Audioslave because of how overplayed they were.
I love Soundgarden.
Yeah, Soundgarden, Audioslave, both of those are really good bands in my eyes now. It's but it took me a minute to get into their sound, and the Deftones is one of those like hit and miss for me. It's not like something I'll go out of my way to listen to, but it's enjoyable when I hear a song that I know. What do you think of the mainstream metal scene these days? And feel free to get as political as possible.
That's funny because like it's really, really weird and odd to see like a lot of bands bending over to like everything that's going on in the world. And I don't care if some bands are silent about it, they just don't want to talk about it because I don't see as they have to speak up. I mean, would it help if they did? Yeah, it would be. But if they're also not going and praising these things too, that's fine. Because I mean, at the end of the day, some of these things should be privately kept conversations anyway. It's really odd. Now, here's the thing. Now, a lot of people pay attention to what's mainstream. I don't know what's considered mainstream in today's metal. I really couldn't tell you. I mean, if you threw some names, maybe something would come to mind. But as far as I've been more paying attention to what's going on in the lesser known underground era, and there's definitely some weird fuckery going on there. There is, but for every bit of fuckery there is going on, there is also bands who don't stand for the fuckery. Like, there's a lot of black metal bands who still don't give into all the shit. Like, when Antifa was making waves and trying to like cancel everyone, they were trying to go after a bunch of black metal bands, and some of them were Take, Marduk, they were trying Horna. These are all bands. Like they were dressed in super black clothing. They wore the spikes on them too. Like they were trying. They would call venues, told them to cancel their tours, and these would be bands who come from other countries to play shows. And it was nice to see like a lot of the black metal bands. Either Horna responded by what did they do? Oh, they ended up just doing a bunch of black market shows, so they wouldn't tell you where they were until the day of. So so there's definitely bands that are still genuinely rebellious. Joseph John from Cro-Mags, or was in Cro-Mags. I was like a more of a hardcore punky type of metal band. He's still consistently against the system. He's not in Cro-Mags anymore, but if you follow him on Twitter, that dude is still consistent. David Sanchez from Havoc is still that way, and he's in thrash metal band Havoc, of course, and they're from Colorado actually.
Really?
And as far as the metalcore scene goes, Phil from All That Remains, he's very openly libertarian. Jesse from Killswitch as well too. He gets pretty conspiratorial at times. So there are guys who are there, and the guys who are not as there, like, I don't want to say I dismiss every single one for being different than me, my mileage varies. Like if it becomes the embodiment of their existence on Twitter, then it kind of gets to a point where I can't listen to it anymore. But if it's one thing that they post something dumb, and I'm like, whatever. But I've not really seen many of them, if any of them, say to their fans the way Hollywood does about, hey, fuck off, stuff like that. I've never seen that. Every now and then I've seen one or two of them make a dumb political statement, but nothing to the extent of where they're telling actual fans word for word to fuck off. So it happens. But there's still a ton of bands out there that people don't pay attention to that are still protecting the metal, and they will always exist. So I don't pay attention to a lot of the guys who are trying to make it buzzwords city.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to that shit because I'm protecting my own little niche corner where there's the Accepts of the world, the Saxons of the world, the Cannibal Corpses of the world. Those corners are so niche in the world that to change those bands' the sounds to be more acceptable and inclusive, or whatever it is you want to call it nowadays, it wouldn't be those bands anymore. So it does help that they're so underground as well. Like Cannibal has been a band for 35 years. Napalm Death, they've been a band for 35 years as well. Slayer, from when they started until they end. Slayer actually became one of the bigger bands, but they still never backed down to what mainstream wanted them to be. And I think Slayer is the best example of this because two of the four original members, even though Slayer talks about Satan and death and blood and guts and serial killers, two of the members were openly Christian. One of them was even a Donald Trump supporter, and then one of them was an open Hillary supporter, and then two of the guys were just kind of in the middle. And that, I think, is great when you have that, because that shows you guys with different points of views can work together, and still get along. And that's how it should be. That's really how it should
100%,
be. And I feel like Slayer gets that much more respect for all being different point of views. And I've talked to almost all of them, and they are great guys. So it's great to see. So it will always be there as far as a gatekeeping protection is there. And for those who want to sell out and bend over to big tech, big media, their time will be up. And I will not miss them. They can scram and go on, and my life will carry on forward, free of all the trends.
Hell yeah. So just to address this question, I'm originally from Colorado. I've been here my whole life, just palling around D-Town and the surrounding areas. I lived in the mountains for a little while, but yeah, that was an age ago. I believe Nick is from Illinois.
Correct.
He's one of those crazy bullet dodgers out there. So,
Yep, Illinois.
So if you could make a recommendation for a little known metal band to everyone in the world, who would you say they should check out?
For a little known,
one that you're like, these guys should be way bigger than they are.
Oh god, there's so many of them. Like there really is. Like
drop some names.
Okay, well now this becomes like a geography lesson, because if you're talking thrash, I could mention, obviously there's the big four. You have your Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax. But then you have like some of the bands under the Testament, Exodus, Death Angel. And then you have New Jersey. You have Overkill from New Jersey. You have Sacred Reich from Arizona. Then up in Germany, you have Creator. You have Sodom. You have Destruction, Tankard. Over in Canada, you have Razor, Exciter, Annihilator. Australia, Sepultura. There's so many of them. Like Demolition Hammer from New York as well. There's a lot of great ones. If I had to say, God, where do you start? I would say start at Exodus. And I would say, because one, their first album is Bonded by Blood, which to me is probably one of the greatest thrash metal albums ever. But they're not too underground. Like they're right outside the big four, but they could still play venues to a few thousands in the US. And also they were mentioned by name in Cobra Kai season 4.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. There's this neighbor who came out and he's like, hey, turn off Metallica. And the guy's like, nah, dude, it's Exodus, Bonded by Blood. And that was cool to see a band like Exodus get name dropped, because they've gone through 3 different vocalists, one their original vocalist being dead. Also, before Kirk Hammett joined Metallica, his first band was Exodus. He played on their demo. So there's a lot of historical reference there. There's
Hell yeah.
even documentaries named after Exodus, Murder in the Frontline. So I would say Exodus would be a great example. I mean, the vocal style is not going to be for everyone, but what I do
Right.
love is for those who get into it, they get into it. And Blair DeBlair's right. Exodus never got their due. And it kind of works out that they never did because they have their fans, and those fans always turn out wherever they go. And in some countries, they're a lot bigger. Some countries are a lot bigger.
Right.
And that's a silver lining to it. Like, yeah, it would be nice to see some of these bands become bigger, but it kind of works out like the newest Exodus album came out in November. They put out a song on there called Clickbait, and that calls out all the crazy hate-driven news media. It's nice to see that happen in 2021, 22, where bands are still calling that out. So once again, they're still out there. You're not going to see them get the spotlight put on them, but they're there. You just got to look for it.
That leads directly into this comment in a way that she says, it makes me sad so many punks are leftists. And in my opinion, they're not punks, they're punk bitches. Because
they are.
You can't fight the system if you're taking it, if you're getting pegged by the system. But you know, and of course, hail the lovely Sherry. Welcome.
Hello,
always
Sherry.
good to see you. But wow.
Yeah, right. That comment is interesting about the whole lot. It'd be one thing to have like a moderately left-leaning stand. My issue is that they're very inconsistent about it. They it's like they're acting like they're still fighting the same battle that was 20, 30 something years ago, where it's a wholly different ball game now, and they're acting like it's still that battle. It's just like, did you guys not realize how far the pendulum swung in your favor? Like, you guys are now in support of it. There's no sense of awareness from that angle. And it's nice when you got Exodus or Joseph John from Cro-Mags still being consistent. And if I had to guess, Joseph John's probably independent. I know David from Havoc has openly said he's a libertarian, and Exodus has said that they have varying point of views. Their singer, Steve Souza, he's an open Trump supporter, and then some of the guys are fairly left and some of the guys are fairly right. So, and once again, that's the best way it should be. But if you're all still agreeing at the end of the day on going against the machine, that's how it should be, regardless of it being right or left. You got to call it the machine for what it is. And it's nice to see that happen when it does, even if it is few and far between, but it's that much sweeter when it does.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So, you just blew my mind with all that music shit, bro. Like,
dude, I could.
You're the culture casino. You're the culture casino of music, man. Holy shit!
I could do even more. That's the thing. I wasn't even getting started.
You could. Oh, I know. What is this? What is this? Drop a like. P.S. My friends had formed a punk band in 1984 named Fucking New Guys, or FNGs. We remain Reagan Republicans. Hail. Hello, Elagabaliblit.
Elegabulous.
Oh my gosh, I'm like comics division all of a sudden. Gosh. See, I love hearing about people that created bands in the high school or created bands in, their younger days, and they just went to just do it, because what a lot of people who don't make music is, what they don't realize is how emotionally charged and how emotionally relieving it is to not only make your own music, but to just throw it out there and say fuck all to like the general consensus on like what they think music is and stuff like that. And I think it's fantastic when people get out and do that. And God, I need to hear some of your vocals, Nick.
Well, I hope to not disappoint. No, that I'm glad you mentioned that. I think there's something great about it when you're starting off like fresh out of high school, because you're young, you're hungry, you just got out of like high school or something, or you may even be a dropout, and you're angry, you're angsty, even you're testosterone driven. You have some bones to pick when you're a teenager. That kind of territory of being a teenager, and I feel like that energy translates to when you're making that music, because in the grand scheme of things, it is a young man's game. Now, obviously, there's many bands that have withstood the test of time. We are still going 40 years later. And credit to them, especially if they're still good. and not selling out, of course. But ultimately, in the greater scheme, it is a young man's game, and you want to have that energy because when though a fan sees that energy, they feed off that energy, and that's how the mosh pits happen. That's how the fist pumping happens. That's where the diehardmanship of it comes, that people want to turn up for those shows and always come out and be like, oh my god, this band's so energetic live. And that was for me. I actually, like, even though I came from like a more of a death metal type of vocal style, my vocal my I guess not vocal style, but my being a frontman, because there's being a vocalist, but there's also being a frontman.
Right.
I got more being a frontman from the punk and hardcore thing. A lot of the punk and hardcore guys are super energetic. They're all over the place. They're jumping off things. They're trying to dive into the crowds. They're swinging around at things, like jumping off balconies and stuff. That's what I did. I went nuts live. I would do like the nice stuff live, and people will always say, "Oh man, you're very energetic live," and I got that a lot from the punk and hardcore bands. So that's where that came from. Because if you look at a lot of death metal bands, a little bit more stationary, which is fine because you gotta do it adjust best to the music. Or if you even look at black metal vocalists, they're kind of like, that's not meant to be mosh pit music. It's more of like, it puts you in a trance. It's more of like an ambiance at time. So different things work for different settings. But yeah, I got that all from punk and hardcore. Really, I do attribute punk and hardcore for that, as far as being a front man is concerned.
Hell yeah. So, well, we've passed the 45-minute mark, and I hear you have a busy day. So why don't you tell us what you're doing today, huh?
All right. Well, later today, I'm going to be talking with that 70s rock fan at 4 p.m. Central Time on his channel. We're going to have a one-on-one, just like I did with Sir TalksALot here. And then, of course, I'm going to be on Yelling at Park Cars with this guy here, Comics Division, George the Giant Slayer, Culture Casino, and maybe more. And I'm going to try to fit in doing a food review for this layer today as well.
Ooh, Wendy's Frosty Cereal.
Dude, right? I saw this. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This is a cereal. So I'm going to try to squeeze that in there. If not, I will definitely get it done tomorrow. And then Toxic Tuesdays tomorrow. We're doing Demolition Man. So
dude,
I would say just get watching on it, and maybe I might have a spot right now. Dude, I gotta figure out who is and who is not. And I have my usuals who are for sure in, but I want to refresh. I want to get you on, but I gotta see where everyone's at. So I would say get on watching it and just be ready, like just in case, because it's gonna be. Don't fuck up I won't fuck up my line.
We'll try not to. I'm not a professional actor or anything, so you can't tell me what to do. Anyway, hell yeah. Brain dead.
It's okay. Be brain dead, and then you'll be alive. It's okay. No, it's nice to talk music with you, Sir TalksALot.
Hell yeah. So if you don't have a slot for me on Tuesday, don't worry about it. I'll definitely be watching and stuff.
Okay.
I love that movie so much.
So good.
The chat alone will be worth jumping into.
Oh, I mean, yes. This one will be in. This is the chat to be in for this one, because people are already telling me they're excited for this one. And that's good to see. People have been really going nuts over Toxic Tuesday. It's great to see that. Like the Die Hard stream, at one point we had nearly 70 people watching.
Nice.
So it's great to see people so excited about this thing, because Toxic Tuesday was not meant to be what it became now. It was meant to be a few weeks of, hey, I need to take a break from talk about modern pop culture. And then it turned into this. And now here we are, the 29th episode. It's crazy and it's awesome. And I've had the pleasure of having you on a few times. And, of course, there'll be more opportunities for you down the line. So
hell yeah.
It's a great time. And people love coming up. People love, whether it's in the chat or on panel, people love being on this thing. And I want people to enjoy this.
It's a great time. I mean, there's like little to nothing bad about your Toxic Tuesdays. Like the fact that it's a Toxic Tuesday and it just focuses on like everything that we love about movies. It's just it's one of the most enjoyable live streams that we can get. I mean, honestly. And here you are rocking 764 subs. You're growing, bro.
Yeah, no, it's been fun, man. And it's been fun to have great people who are subscribed to the channel. I like to think of my subscribers as friends as well. That's how I look at it. I mean, without these people, I wouldn't have shows to put on. Without my panelists, I wouldn't have a show put on. And I know we all say like without the chat, we're nothing, but it's true. A lot of you guys, it's kind of like being on a panel is like being on a stage, and the chat is like the crowd at a live show. When I see that energy in the chat, I feed off the energy in the chat. And that translates to when I'm up on this panel and I feed off that. And I get excited when I see there's a chat. Like, it's really weird when the stream is about to start in 5 minutes and you already see a list of comments. People are already commenting like crazy. Like, whoa, that's kind of like, that's like the audience before band starts. Everyone's just ready and excited. So that's what I see that as.
A lot of good energy. It's great.
Yeah.
And I look forward to watching you grow even more throughout this year. You'll hit that 1,000 subs before 4th of July, probably. So, hoping. My goal.
We gotta get you 500. You'll get there. Oh, you'll get there.
Oh, I know. I got 115 more to go.
You'll get there. Trust me. When I was at the 400 mark, dude, like I know we got to go soon, but that one when I was at the 400 mark, I was stuck there for like a month and a half. And then also out of nowhere, I was like 500. It was really weird.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't get past 412. What the hell's going on? And then also I know we're like, whoa, what happened? It's really weird.
I felt that way at 280.
See, you had that. Yeah. You're gonna have your times where you're stuck at a weird number.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just happens again out of nowhere. It's really weird. It comes and goes in spades.
Yeah, it does. But it's always fun, and I don't think I'm stopping anytime soon.
No,
so.
Please don't.
Word. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. To everyone in the wonderful chat that joined us today, thank you. You make all this possible. Jump over to my Corey channel. Check out my new remix of Talent 1.5. And have a wonderful day, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed the show, then hit that like button, subscribe, and make sure to tell your friends to come by next week for more fun. This is Talking with TalksALot. Have a wonderful day.